Hello everyone, this is Diane. We are here. We are at the binding stage for these Stash Buster journals we've been working on. I did bind one each of the small and the larger journals because I hadn't used the Cinch before and I wanted to, make sure I knew what I was doing before I did a video of it. So my friend Leslie had sent me a video that was helpful to her, so I watched that and it was helpful. And I looked at the instructions, which really are not as detailed as they should be, in my opinion. It is by We Are Memory Keepers, and this is a Heidi Swap version of it. And I didn't get round holes, which surprised me. I expected round holes because the Cinch does round holes, but these are square holes. They're not the rectangular ones. I don't have a sample. Well, I can do one. I have my Zutter right here. I can show you what kind of holes you get with the Zutter, but these are square and not rectangle. But they're not round. I kind of wanted the round holes, but I got this for 10 bucks. Well, less than $10 because of all the stuff that came with it at the flea market, so I'm not complaining about that at all. So there are differences between the two. Obviously, look at the size difference. But this folds and this holds it down, so it's compact, and I have a spot I can stand that in my closet in here, and this has a spot that sits on the higher shelf in my closet, so I have space for both of them. Also, this is the binding channel, so you hold your piece upright. It's the punching channel, so you hold it in here and then pull the lever down to punch. And then this is the binding channel where you would place your book with the wires and pull the lever down and it would cinch the wires. And I did have some issues with that, which I'll talk about as we go. I've had issues with both parts of it, and I wondered how those issues would be with this. I've gotten so I do this a lot. I've done this a lot. I know how to use it. So I still occasionally, if I'm being careless, I'll still have an issue that I can correct. And so this has similar issues, but in a different way. So I'll show you. Well, let's just start using the machine. I'm going to do the big one first. All right, so I want my wires to be centered. So I'm not doing this the way the instructions say or the way the video said, because I noticed there's a marking here for the center. So that's what I'm using, and I can use this to help me keep my pages centered. So instead of using this edge to press it up against, I'm using the markings on there. I will show you what I mean. So this is, I was using my centering ruler to make sure I had things in the center. Let's see where this fits. All right, if I have 4 1/4 inches on both sides, so it must be 8 1/2 inches. So I have the 0 in the middle. It says 4 1/4 over here. 4 1/4, not 4 1/4. It's 4 1/8 on each edge. So I'm going to mark where the 0 is. Okay, I got a pencil mark right there. So I'm just going to move this out. And I'm going to center my pencil mark with the center mark there. So the arrow is pointing right to my little pencil mark. So now I can bring this in. I pushed it a little. So if I put the cover right up to the edge here, I will have it centered. So I'll just do that for the front and the back covers. So I'm pushing it all the way back. And this is where I had a problem with pages, and I will talk about that in a minute. Push it all the way back, and I have all of the levers pushed in so that there are 12 holes. So when I punch this, there will be 12 holes. Nice square holes. And now I want to do the back cover, and I want to make sure I do that so they line up perfectly. So just in case it's not quite centered, I want to make sure that they go in the same way. So this went in like that, upside down like that. So this will go in like that, so that they will line up perfectly. And I don't have to mark the center because I'm using that guide. It's just hard with the cardstock, or the paper on it. It's not even cardstock, it's paper. So let's see, they line up perfectly. Those holes are perfectly lined up. Now the paper is not cut to the same height. So again, I want to find the center. Let's see. I want to make sure I have this going the right way. Yep, this is the front. But it's backwards. Okay. This is the first page. I'm going to flip it over. And looks like 3 3/4 at each side, each end. So there's my center. And this, well, I guess I can use that. When I do the smaller pages, this will not be helpful, so I'll show you what my other trick is. So I'll just push that in. I can do it a lot. I can do the punching faster if I can use this guide. But, all right, that's in the center. So I'm going to push that all the way back. And I won't be doing too many pages at one time. But I'm going to try 3. And I did them individually instead of putting a bundle together and putting them in, because I tried that before with the first batch I did. And some of the ones in the center might have, like I had 5 because I could do 5 at a time here. So I was doing 5 at a time here, but if one of them didn't slide back all the way, then the holes went off the edge. So I had to fix that a couple times. So I'm putting them in one page at a time to make sure they're all the way back. I can feel it hitting back there. But I can do I can punch multiple pages, which helps it go a lot faster. My tripod is kind of in my way right now, making it a little bit awkward, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Now we will have, like you saw this page, it isn't the full length obviously, so I just put it somewhere in there. It doesn't really matter where, as long as it gets all the holes punched, so that you can put it where you want to when you line your pages up. When I'm done here with these pages, I will show you how I fixed the pages that went off the rails, went off the edge of the page. I'm even going to do 4 here. Here's another smaller piece. So So sometimes I want to put it up here, sometimes I want it down here, so that they're not all in the same spot in your book. Now I keep wanting to hold on to it while I punch, but this will hit my hand if I'm not careful, so try to remember to move my hand out of the way. And a pickle bag. We have two of the same kind of note papers, but they're shorter. I'm just going to stagger them. If I didn't want all of the holes punched, I can pull one of these levers and that one won't go down and punch. And I had to do that with the smaller journal, so you'll see that. We're going to do one of each here. I will say that I have not had a successful cinch yet with the cinch. As I squeeze the wires together, I got my bind-it-all out and I cinched them with the bind-it-all. So that's something I'm going to have to watch videos about and practice it, I guess, because I did what it said to do, but it doesn't press them together. We'll talk about that some more. But I am going to cinch this with my bind-it-all. I'm not going to try it with this. I'll show you how you're supposed to do it. It's got a rounded edge, so I want that facing out. Wrapping paper, teacher's ledger, book page, and wallpaper. These are so cute, these pictures. The instructions do say that if you notice, I don't know if you can see, but these levers don't all go down at the same time. They said that it's designed that way so that they're not all trying to punch at the same time. It's easier to punch if they're punching at different intervals, I guess. They all punch, but this one will punch before that one. And it all seems to punch at the same time to me, except that it probably would require a little more strength if they all went down at the same time. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense to you? Got 4 pages there, but there's only one left. Okay, the next step is a different feature. Well, so this one is too. I'm going to empty my tray. So with this, There's no tray to empty. This is a smaller, compact little thing. But I could, where is it, open this flap, and then I had to hold it over my wastebasket and just shake, 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 shake until I got everything out. Which works, it's fine. But this is easier. It has a tray back here. All those things that I punched out, I can empty. Put the tray back. And this stuff is different too. So this is big enough that it has this part on the side to put your wires on, so you can put your pages on the wires. So this is bigger than I need. It punched 12 holes, so I just need 12 pieces of wire, 12 loops. So right here, I can cut it off right there. Did I? Oh, here they are. My Bind It All came with little pink, whatever these are called, pliers, but it didn't work, so my husband gave that to me. And I don't know if this comes with one. It didn't. I just had this. It didn't have a box or anything with it. It was just this. And then he gave me a box full of Project Life stuff that he put with it. So take this, this is a skinny loop, this is a fatter loop. The fat loop goes over those little protrusions there. And then we can start building our book. Now, I did this different than the instructions say too. I followed the instructions on this one, which was putting the pages on first and then the covers. And my seam ended up at the front, which I don't like. I normally have the seam at the back. So for this one, I put the covers on first, and the seam is in the back. So that's what we're going to do. Covers on first. Now, you have to think about this, because here's the front of the book. Here's the front cover. Here's the back cover. In order to have the seam inside the book and not outside, you have to flip the back cover over so that they're facing each other. And then when you pinch it, the seam will be back here. So we're going to start with the back cover like that. And then we'll put the front cover so that the outer facing pieces of the cover face each other. It's not that hard once you do it a couple times and realize what is necessary. And this can get tedious. You can sometimes thread more than one page on, but since I was only doing 2 or 3 or 4 at a time, they're probably not lined up. This one has several pages lined up, so I'm going to put them all on at once. That was good. So I used to just, thread these on just like this, but I didn't have this part to hold it steady. So that's handy. Make sure I got everything in there. I had several. There's the pickle bag. I should have removed these. It's not as necessary with the cinch as the pieces are lying down. If I had to do it here and put it in like that, sometimes the cards would slide down and get punched. I did that more than once. But to be safe, I should have pulled those inserts out, and I didn't. You can just wait till you have everything done before you even put the inserts in. There are different sizes of wires. They're called O wires because they form an O once they are pressed together. And I always use the 1 inch. I do have, I think this came with this machine when I got it at the flea market. And these are, I think they're 3/4 inches. And these are 1/2 inch in red. And these are 1/2 inch in black with some smaller pieces that I cut off. I had them in white and silver and all different colors for years when I first got my Find It All. But I rarely use anything smaller than 1 inch, even with the small book, because it's thick, it has a lot of pages. If I just did a little notebook that wasn't going to have any pockets or tags or anything in it, just a little writing notebook to put in my purse, then I could use a smaller, I could use the 1/2 inch. So that's why I keep them, because I will use them here and there. We're getting to the end here, and then we will talk about cinching it. It's getting full. That's the last page. So now I can unhook it there, and I have my wires threaded through my pages, but they're still wide open. So what you would do next is, there's a little knob here that has measurements, and I had it set at 1 inch because these are 1 inch wires, and you press down this little knob and turn it to adjust it. It has a little marker here that moves along here. And I had it set at 1 inch, and that didn't work, so I set it a little bit smaller. I set it, I don't know, 2 or 3 increments smaller. It's not quite to 7/8, but it still wouldn't close it all the way. But I'm not going to use this. I want to read about it or watch videos. But you put this in here. Maybe I had it upside down, I don't know, but I know with the Bind It All, you have to put the small one facing the back of the machine. But this has both pieces. And you just press it up against the back, and then press this down, and this part goes down and squeezes the wires. And if I had it set for a 3/8, it would go down lower and press it. But I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to do it with this because I know what I'm doing here. Put that, I just pull that out to hold it steady, because if I didn't, it would tip it over. So I'm going to stand up to do this. I always stand up. It makes me feel like I'm more in control, I guess. So I already have this set for 1 inch. There's a marking down here, actually. Yeah, I think that's right. It has markings down here. And I'm going to put the small loops toward the back. And this will press, I think, 5 at a time. And you don't want to leave just 2 hanging off, because it won't press just 2 very well. So I want to make sure I leave at least 3 to be done at the end. And then just press it down and move to the next set of 4. And then the last 3. And we have a nice closure. Looks like that's a little bit bent there. It's not a good O. It's a little squared off right there. I never get a perfect O, but there's a dip in the wire. I don't think you can see it here very well, but you're supposed to like center your pages right in that dip. So it works. Even if it looks a little wonky, I go with it as long as it works. If it's open, I'll show you the seam. If they're not closed very well, pages will slip out. So that has a little bit more of a gap than these up here. It's not very even, but it works and it's fine. So there's that one. Let's do so these are closer to the bottom than they are to the top, so it doesn't seem like I had it centered. But they're within the book cover, so that's good. Let's do the small one if we have time. So this is where this will not help me because it won't even go as far. Maybe the cover will just touch that, but the pages won't touch that. So I will use the markings on the measurement guide. Let's see. 3 1/8 on either end. Is that right? Yep. So I'm going to mark right there is the center. So it doesn't quite touch that, but I can see I'm on there's a longer mark there. And then the very next tiny mark, this is lined up with the tiny mark on that edge. This has, what do you call it? Metric markings, and this has whatever ours are. Or I can just see it's marked up, lined up with the center, and just keep it steady and push it in there. But you want to line the back up the same, so I'm using that marking. Oh, gotta stand. It doesn't want to push. There we go. I just needed a little extra leverage. So now I'll put this one in. And it's lined up with that little mark there that I can see and you can't. It's lined up perfectly. Whoops. Paper trimmer falling under my feet here. Don't want to roll over it with my chair. I think this is secure with that tag is secure, so I'm just gonna, I need to mark my pages so I know which marking to go on. So the cover was 3 1/8, and this is just 3. So these pages are cut pretty close to the same size. Alright, so I have the marking lined up with the center, and I can see at the English measurements, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 marks in. So that's what I will use to line my pages up. It takes a little longer than being able to push them up against that, but it works. I'm just going to do 2 at a time here. And we'll see how we did. Perfect. That's good. So we'll just keep going. This one I don't have to line up because it's shorter. I just want these two to line up the same, these two pieces, because they go together. So I want their tops and bottoms to match. Oh, okay. Here's something I didn't think about to tell you because this is a small book. I forgot. So this worked out great. With the other one I did, this one is smaller. So I pulled these two out. So I only had 10 holes because it was too close to the edge and I didn't need them to go out that far. So I guess it's good. I didn't need to change that. But if I wanted, I could have made this smaller. I could have made fewer holes and that would have been fine. But I didn't think about it. So we're going to go with the 12 holes. Remember, this cinch is new to me. I'm sorry it's taking so long, but you know, if you rush things, these I do want to take out because I will definitely punch them if I don't. If you rush things, that's when you make mistakes. And even if you don't rush things, sometimes you make mistakes. It happens. I won't be able to bind these in accidentally because the wires won't go through the holes if they're in the way. Once I have the first page in, I can line anything else that's the same height. I can just line it up with the paper. I don't have to think about the markings that much. But I do have to make sure I push them all the way back so that I'll show you on this one where I didn't do that. Well, it was this bag. You can't see it because the holes went off the edge of the page, so I glued a strip here and here. Maybe you can see it on the inside. Yeah, see where, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but this hole was completely open. These 3 holes were open, so I had to cover that with paper. This one I don't have to line up. Just have to make sure it's within that mark because it's smaller. These are all small pieces. It would be a lot better if I had a bigger piece to help me guide them. But this will show me, make sure that they're all within the right space, and they are not. This card went down too far. I think it goes that way. It might seem complicated, and it is a little scary to do something new like this, but it's really not that hard. And if you make mistakes, you can try to find a way to fix it. You can replace the paper if it's not fixable. I actually had to take the wire, my first attempt at binding this, I had to open up the wire and pull the pages out and throw the wire away. For one thing, the cinch didn't cinch it properly. And for another thing, I forgot the covers. I bound all the pages and didn't have a cover on them. So in that case, I don't try to salvage the wire. It's, if you bend it up, it's not going to be right again. So I just threw it away. It was a cut off piece that I had left over with 10 holes in it, so it worked, but I threw it away. So, you know, it's trial and error. You will make mistakes. Even with my Bind It All, I've used my Bind It All for many years, and I still have errors that I have to correct, or throw away a page and grab a new page, throw away some wires. Oh, speaking of wires, where do you get them? I get mine from Amazon. I used to get a really good deal on, you saw those boxes, I think. Maybe you didn't see the box that I had. Probably not. I would buy a box of, I don't know how many, maybe 50. And 50 of one color, and I would buy 3 colors. Black, white, silver. So I had a lot of wires, and I got a good deal on them. Alright, so here, I didn't push this envelope back far enough, and you can see how that is open, and this one is very close and will tear. So, we're going to do a repair job. I just happen to have some of my paper strips here for this purpose. And I'm just going to glue one. I can glue it on just one edge or on the front and the back to hide the holes that were wrong. And I think in this case I will do that. What was I saying? Okay, so I used to buy in bulk from Amazon, but I can't get that anymore. It's been many years since I got my Bind It All, and I don't see them being sold that way anymore, but I still buy them from Amazon. It's not such a great deal, but it's better than buying a pack of 2 wires at Hobby Lobby, which you can do. I believe that Hobby Lobby sells cinch supplies, so you can go see what they have. They might even have a cinch machine there. I don't know. I don't want to get glue on my mat. It'll go through those holes. And I will want to let this glue dry before I put it in my cinch, because I don't want to gum things up in my cinch. So I just prolonged this project a little bit. Maybe I will try to cinch this with the cinch and we can see how it goes, because it didn't work all the way, but I put it in the Bind It All and it was fine, so wouldn't hurt if I did that again to show you. And then if somebody has a cinch, and you can maybe see what I'm doing wrong. That's what I mean about that book not having enough details. It doesn't, the instruction sheet, it doesn't talk about different sizes of covers and pages. My little booklet that came with my Bind It All, I'm just going to start punching and let that glue dry. My Bind It All has a little booklet with pages, and you can look at the pages. Each page has a different measurement, so it says for a cover that is 8 inches, this is what you do. This is how you set things, or how you cut it, how you punch it. And then if your cover is 8 inches, then your pages would probably be 7.5. So then you look at your 7.5-inch page sheet page in that, you know, so it tells you how to do it differently for covers and differently for pages. So there are quite a few differences in the two machines, but they essentially do the same job and do it well if you know how to do it. I know years ago my friend had a Cinch and I tried it and I didn't have a problem with it. So maybe it's a problem with this. I don't know. I can say it's, let's see, yeah, that page goes first. I can say it's a problem with the Cinch and not me, but let's be honest, it's probably me. We're getting there, I promise. Trying to think of tips to give you while I concentrate on what I'm doing here. The most important thing, I think, is just to enjoy it, have fun. It is a really fun tool to use. And try not to be frustrated when you make the inevitable mistake, because the mistakes are inevitable. Nobody's perfect. This is the last, except for the envelope. I'm going to say, whoops. We're going to say this is dry enough now. Going to make sure that that's within. Yes, that's good. That's better. Okay, I'm going to empty this tray before I forget. Look at all those lovely little colors. Turn it this way, get our wire, put the envelope back where it belonged. I know it was next to the wallpaper. So this also has 12 holes. Difference with this is it does 6 holes, so I would have to, even with this, I would have to punch and then move it down and punch, but there is, well, start here and move it this way because there's a little guide here to help you make sure all the holes line up so that they match the wires. And this also has a guide. If I was doing a bigger journal, this would lock into one of the holes. So that means that it would line everything up properly. If this is in one of the holes, then everything else is going to line up. So it does have safeguards like that for you. Here is my little book. Going to flip the back cover to the front. I put the pages in right side up first. Oh, everything's right except that one. Okay. I'll flip that to the front. And we are ready to go. So this wire had 24 loops on it, and I used 12 for the first one, and so there's 12 left for this one. It's getting dark. It's getting late. I woke up to snow this morning. So the sky it was dusky all day. I didn't go to church today. My knee was so bad last night. It was the worst ever. After I had like 4.5 good days where I thought, yay, it's healed. and then whammo, it started hurting and got really bad, so that it was even aching while I wasn't on it, when I wasn't moving. Couldn't find a comfortable way to sleep. I finally got some sleep, and I just figured I would stay home. And then my daughter's recovering from surgery. My son was sick, and my daughter-in-law had a migraine, so we all decided to stay home. So I've just had a quiet day here at home, working on this and working on getting steps on my Fitbit. I try to get 13,000 steps a day. I do like to get 15, but if I can get 13, that's my goal. So where am I at now? I have 8,818. So I'll get there. It's just gone 4 o'clock. These are a little close to the edge too. I think I'm gonna patch that up. Otherwise, it'll probably tear on you when you turn your page if you buy this journal. I'm just gonna put it on one side. So with the Bind It All, I had that trouble after I glue this on, I'll show you. I hope it's not confusing that I talk about both interchangeably. I'm just kind of comparing the two, so if you haven't purchased one and you kind of want to know the differences. I know I've talked about the Bind It All a lot because I have demonstrated it quite a few times. Alright, I want this to go that way, so I know I didn't let the glue dry. Ooh, oh good, I didn't go all the way back because I let it go crooked. My hand pulled it away. Okay, it's all the way back. There. Sorry. And we'll just keep going. I have several pages in the pile there. A couple here. She's supposed to be in a pocket, I think. Oh, I'm just going to bind her in now. She got punched perfectly. Maybe she was supposed to be in this envelope. I don't know. I don't know how that happened. I'll go back and watch the video and see where she came out of something, probably. So this will be journal number 4 that I bind. That goes up too high, so it would stick out. I didn't line that up properly. Let's see. So I'm just going to trim that off at the top, so it won't stick out. See, you just have to look at things and figure out how you can fix something. So now it works. When you're preparing your pages, it helps to be aware that there will be holes punched. You can see it punched their faces there, but sometimes there's not really anything you can do. I could have trimmed the paper over here and had more edge over here to punch, but I didn't. Piece of my hair in the way there. Okay, we're almost done. Last page. Okay, now I will show you here. I have it set, it's a little bit under 1 inch, so it should press down far enough. I'm gonna look at the instructions and see if I can see what side of what edge is facing up, the fat side or the skinny side. They don't show you binding it with any pages, they just show the wires in there. Okay, it looks like the skinny side is facing up. And it looks like it should be this whole length should work, but it seemed to be pressing it better in the center. So I'm just gonna put this down here and push it against the back, and I'm gonna stand up and we'll see what happens. Well, that did pretty good. Now this one got left out, so I'll move it down. So maybe that's what I did wrong. Put the small part at the top. I probably had it the other way. Yeah, that worked good. Okay. Fix that problem. And there we go. There is another journal. So I have 4 that are all bound now. They have a little bit more detail to be done inside. Not much. But yeah, I've only got 6 more to go. And I'm going to worry about that tomorrow. But I hope that this was helpful for you. Oh, I was going to tell you the problem I had with this. So I would have several pages in here. Let's just put these in here. I'd have 5 pages, or even the cover sometimes. And if it tipped at all, if it tipped, the holes are going to run off the page. And with a cover, especially a big cover, like when I was doing the Smash book, it was so easy to tip the cover a little bit. I'm exaggerating it. I would see it if I did it like that, but even just a little bit. And as I move it down, it might tip one way or the other. And you can do the same with pages. So that was one of the problems to look out for with the Bind It All. All right, so if you have any questions, you can ask me. I don't know if I can answer. I'm not an expert on the Cinch, and I'm probably not an expert on the Bind It All. I use it a lot, but I kind of probably do it my own way. But yeah, I am very happy with these. I'm very happy that I figured out the Cinch and what I was doing wrong. That makes me very happy. We have a nice rounded, pretty much rounded. See, there's a little squarish part there, but I think that is because of the dip in the cinches in the wires. They're not going to be perfectly round. So again, I'm happy with these, and I have more to do before they're done. I'm going to shoot for having these in my shop on Wednesday. No guarantees, but I'm going to try to have them in my shop on Wednesday. I hope this was helpful and interesting, and you can ask me any questions in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.